believe, but you don't believe. But it's not from a, I don't get it from not a mixed up, like a mixed up type of thinking. I get it from the standpoint of you're actually being genuine with that. That's what I'm looking for. You're actually genuine about your beliefs. Like you've been drilled that God is this thing, so you believe in it, but you also question it,
Question it.
meaning that you're not a blind follower as I label everybody else who believes. You're actually thinking about God, and that to me, that actually deviates from whatever other people believe God's plan is.
Because I'm gonna tell you who drive me the craziest the most are those people when I have a conversation and they say, God said to me. And so I don't know how many times where I've been in prayer and I'm like, so let's have a conversation. Hey, can can you write me a text in the sky or can you give me some type of something because I want to believe that you exist. So can you help me? What does your voice sound like? Can I hear your voice? Because other people can hear your voice, but why can't I hear your voice?
That's like a follow-up question to that question I always ask folks when I ask you like why do you believe? And they say the typical thing, like we talked about before. But yes, I hear that often as well. Like, hey, I talk to God, I pray to God. Praying to God is conversation with God. It's like it's not really conversation with God because of the things that you say out loud.
I can't say that I've ever heard the voice of God.
And that's what
Like
I was about to
like
get at.
I've had coincidences in my life that
Hmm.
I felt was I can't say that it was
Divine,
God
heavenly.
answering a prayer or something like that. I just
Hmm.
feel like it was a coincidence that it just happened to be something that maybe either I manifested it or I can't say for sure God did this for me. Something that I prayed about. That I can never say that I prayed about this and God made it
And this
happen.
happened. Yeah. Yeah. And everything that you just said just now is like the cornerstone stone of my theory of imagination is your everything. Because another loophole that I think that people would like to use is that where if you go looking for something, you're gonna find that says something. No, I'm not. Like, think about what it is that you're saying. Like, do what you know I do. And think about it. Like, no, I'm not going to find it if it's not there to be found. So if I go looking for something, if I go looking for freaking, if I go looking for basketballs in the ocean, I'm going to eventually find it. No, I'm not going to eventually find a freaking basketball in the
No.
ocean because why would it be here?
But I do think a perfect example of what you're talking about though is let's say you want to go buy a new car and you want to buy I work at Toyota. So let's say you want to go buy a new Lexus and you want to buy
Mm-hmm.
a red Lexus. Now all of a sudden,
You can't
every
find
time
it.
you look around, you see a freaking red Lexus.
Yep, yep,
You never saw them all before.
yep. And that's what people misconstrue with manifestation. Yes, you believing in what you want to believe in because you choosing to want to believe that that was part of that. Because how can I not be a believer and still possess the same manifestation powers as you then?
As you do. Yeah.
Because I see that freaking Lexus too all the freaking time now.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, that's why I said is to believe in one's imagination to that degree is insanity to me. This guy that you're praying to or that you're talking to, cool. All right, you heard him talk, he speaks back to you. All good to me. Question is, does that voice sound different from your voice? You know how you sound. Even when you talking to yourself, you're still problem solving with your voice, even in your head. You're not making other voices in your head. You will most likely make other voices verbally outside, like physically right now. Like me and you, I start doing freaking character voices, but I'm not gonna do character voices
in your head.
to myself in my head. So
Right.
does that voice sound different from your voice? Is the question that I've been asking folks lately. Only one said, yeah. Going off our conversation that we had on her show, yeah, she did hear another voice. Nuts.
And
But
so
hey,
those people that can hear God's voice, if you can hear him so distinctly like that,
why do you still do what you do? Well, matter of fact, you know what? No, 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 no. If you
why
can hear
aren't
him
you a millionaire?
distinctively,
Why aren't you, why aren't you prosperous? Why aren't you doing stuff to what's the word that they always use? To build the kingdom.
because you only hear him when he feels like wanting to be heard. You can't force God or make God do
Only
what he
do
wants
what he
or
wants
what you want
you
to
what
do.
you want him to
You
do.
will hear him speak his voice when you feel like using the loophole of hearing his voice.
Hearing his voice. Yeah. And to me, that's it.
Exactly. That's all it's it. Again,
Yeah. So there's two
it's
guys
just
on TikTok that I'm going to have to send you. Thought I sent you one, but there's two guys
yeah, you
on
sent me
TikTok.
one. I've
Yeah.
been watching
And,
his stuff.
yeah. And then
I've
there's
been trying to
another
get him to
guy.
come on, but he ain't
Have
coming
you?
on yet.
Yeah. The stuff that he talks about is very interesting. You know what I mean? Because you're like,
Mm-hmm.
and there's another guy too. He was like, he used to be a pastor, and he says, and now he just laughs at all the stuff. He said, this is the stuff I used to believe. Like I used to believe
Mm-hmm.
this, and I used to believe this, and this is what I believed when I was a pastor, and this is what I believed when I believed in, and I was like, and so it's just fascinating just to hear him talk about the stuff, and he laughs at the stuff. He's like, I can't believe I used to think like, I used to think
Yeah,
this, or I used to think this,
yeah.
and it was like, whoa, yeah.
That's part of the main reason of why I find people who believe way more intriguing than the actual religion because imagination is your everything. A small off the scale version of what it is that we are definitely talking about is we talked about this new weight loss thing on the show once. You get a big plate with smaller portions on it, cut them portions up and spread it around the plate to make it like you got a full meal. You would trick yourself into being full so you won't eat all of it. But I'm like, that's so freaking retarded. Guess who just tricked themselves for real into thinking that they can think about something like this? You, because your brain put it in your mind to trick the brain. So how can you trick something that set up the trick? But see, and that's part of imagination is your everything to me. That adds, Marta, to that you're choosing to want to believe this because of imagination told you. Even when your parents were, even whoever you talked to, how many ever you talked to growing up about these things, none one of them can actually show you this thing. Now one of them can actually really tell you why they believe outside of the things that I've done, I've witnessed in my life. When I was down on my luck, this happened. And couldn't nobody else know that this was happening but God.
But
But
God.
God sent these person to tell me and do this. I'm like, I mean, okay, okay. But the whole thing about what we talked about earlier. Why won't God intervene with himself? He did at one point, according to the book. He was down there with Adam and Eve, according to the book. Matter of fact, after Adam and Eve, he was still roaming the freaking earth with these cats, with these people.
Even
Uh,
the conversation allegedly he had with the devil about Job.
and the devil does all of his things he take it up with God before he do them.
So basically, y'all playing with this man, y'all was just testing him.
No,
And
no,
he was like, well,
that wasn't the only time. That wasn't Job
and
wasn't
that
the
wasn't
only
the
time
only
about
time.
the devil. And the devil is scarce as heck in the Bible. Old Testament, New Testament. You rarely hear about the devil, but yet this cat get blamed for everything because of imagination told you to not like this portion of their imagination.
But his job is to kill, steal, and destroy. And he's also the author of all confusion. And he knows the Bible better
Where
than
you get that from? Where you get that from?
anybody. That's what
Where
I'm
you get?
that's what I'm being
No, no,
sarcastic about
no, no,
all the
no, no.
stuff
Oh
that
yeah, I'm
yes.
being no. I'm asking you where you get that from, guy. I'm thought you was about to tell me some people, and where did they get it from? All
That's what
y'all
I'm
got it from a
saying.
book. All
All
y'all got it
y'all
from a
got it
book.
from the book.
Got it from a book.
And you choose to
Do you know what
believe
speaking the
that.
tongue is? Do you know what speaking the tongue is?
Yeah,
The
because
speaking the tongue is supposed to, it's the language that the devil doesn't know. It's
allegedly.
the language that yeah, alleged, but I'm
Should about a
like,
Honda. Should about
yeah,
a
but
Honda.
I'm like, you mean to
Mm.
tell me this character been roaming around in your brain for all this time and they had to take the time out to go to Rosetta to get to learn how to learn this freaking
To learn how
speaking in
to learn
tongue.
what the language of the
But
tongue is. Come on.
but check this out. I'm gonna close it out with this one. Close out the religious talk with this one. Check this one out. You remember when I said that not even the prophets have seen God? They might have talked to him, but none of them seen him.
Semen.
This is including Jesus. If you want to look at him as a separate entity, or however you want to look at him, this is including Jesus. None of them seen God. The Book of Enoch goes even further with this. The Book of Enoch states that when they had took him to where God was in front of his chair, it's funny that nobody ever seen him, but anyone who ever see him is supposed to die. If that be the case, God himself stated this in the Bible and in the Book of Enoch, that no one can look upon me because they will melt, their flesh will melt, you would die because
Right.
of basically because of the magnificence of what your brain is trying to your brain is trying to imaginatively express what it's looking at.
Yeah.
But that being said, is that for some reason this passage is in here for us to know this, meaning that somebody had to witness God and live long enough to spread that thing around that no one can look at him without dying. And it also go, but that was just digressing. But also it states that not even the angels has ever seen God. The same thing would happen to them. So if the that's just one of the biggest, like this, like the god of loopholes to me. Of why do you choose to believe in what you believe in if no all these heroes you read about have never met this nigga, but yet handpicked by this nigga. Even the angels telling you about this nigga have never seen this nigga. But yet we're still believing in our imagination enough to say we believe. And the only word that can actually explain any of this, yours and mine, believers in mine, is faith. The believing in the unseen. That's the only thing that can, by words,
What is the definition of
express
faith? Faith is the substance of
believing in
things.
the unseen.
Yeah.
Yeah, same what, yeah, what you
The
about to say.
substance of
Yeah.
the substance of things seen and unseen or something like I can't remember what it was. Yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's basically believing in something that you know is not there, but believing in it anyway. Yes.
exactly.
Yes.
That in a nutshell, or in
In a
layman's
nutshell,
terms,
yes.
for rereads to understand it is you believe that this is there, even though you don't see this
Don't see it.
there,
Yes.
but you
Yes.
believe wholeheartedly that it
That
is
it
there.
does. Yes.
And that to me is